Welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. Today's guest is Mayor Mark Sheldon of Panama City Beach. We are excited to have him. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so glad that you're with us. I'd like to give him a little bit of background on you. Mark moved to Panama City Beach in 2013. Is that right?
Yes, December of 12, close enough.
And is excited to be in Panama City Beach. He has a wife, Jessica,
Yes, sir.
and then two children, John Robert, that is is he 7 or 6?
He's 7. He's about to turn 8.
About to turn 8. He plays a little baseball, doesn't he?
Loves baseball and football. That kid is an outdoor kid. He's never inside.
Sweet. And then tell me about Sydney, your little girl.
Daddy's girl, right?
How's she?
Just turned 11 last week. So, bless my wife's heart. She had 13, 10, and 11-year-olds on a sleepover Sunday a week ago.
Sweet.
And we are still here to talk about it. So we feel like that was a success.
I tend to want to call you Mayor Sheldon.
And I appreciate that. I'm just Mark.
All
I tell
right.
everybody that all the time. I'm just Mark. I am as simple as it comes. So
Well, I am
it.
grateful that we've got some time with you today.
Me too.
I want to just kind of clear the air.
Sure.
You moved here in 2013. You got some experience up north, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you were one of those transplants. I guess, is that a fair way to say that?
That's a fair assessment.
Okay. But you've become one of us fairly quickly.
Because it's such a welcoming community. Once you finally get here and you realize what Bay County is and Panama City Beach as a whole, you realize it becomes home so fast.
Right.
Because of the open arms. It's, the hand waves, the smiles, the gestures, the door holding. The Southern hospitality is a real thing, and you realize that when you come here, when you come from a place from the Northeast,
Right.
where it's a little not just colder with the weather, it's a colder climate of people to a point. And here in the South and Bay County as a whole is just a great welcoming community, and it makes you just feel that way the minute you get here.
There are so many good things happening in Bay County, so many transitions also that have happened in recent years. And I look forward to being able to talk about a few of those. Before we do that, though, I want to talk a little bit about how the community is working right now. I mentioned in a previous podcast with Bob Micah that the municipalities get together on like a monthly basis with the county manager and the managers of each of those, and they do a planning time. That's something the chamber's done, but just recently, the chamber in Bay County also started a meeting of the mayors.
Absolutely. I'm so thankful for the Bay County Chamber to do that. Carol and her team, just amazing, right? They're getting out there and they're talking to people. And it's just a dialogue to realize what's going on in your world is probably going on in somebody else's too. And as you start having the conversations and you hear the different aspects of, whether it's housing or it's water or it's trash, whatever it is, so many of our communities are facing similar challenges on different scales, right? One may be bigger for one than less than the other, but it's still on the same kind of whiteboard per se. So for us to be able to have those candid conversations, I think it's one of the best things that's happened in a long time.
Well, I love the fact that as I'm speaking with all you guys as community leaders, you have a governmental role, but it seems like so many now see the value of aligning with common purpose, and there's so many things that we have in common, and then are able, because of that, it doesn't have to be us versus them. It doesn't have to be this municipality versus that one.
Sure.
For years, we have known that those of us that are local, when we go away, and we are asked where we're from, we tell them we're from Panama City or Panama City Beach. We don't generally say Lynn Haven or Callaway or Springfield or whatever. Everybody knows that Panama City Beach is the face of Bay County. And I have loved, as we've talked about it, you describing this idea of a rising tide floats all boats, because it reflects the fact that you get it. You understand that we all go up together, or we all rise or fall together.
Absolutely. We are one community. Bay County is one as a whole, and even with our neighboring counties, right? We want to make sure that we're being a good neighbor to each other. So several times throughout the past year and a half since I've been in office, my phone has rang, or I've picked up the phone to call another community leader who I just consider friends, to make sure they're okay. The same way you'd call your friends to say, hey, this is going on with you. Are you okay?
Right.
Well, things happen. Storms happen. Events happen. Wind events, tornadoes, whatever it is. We pick up the phone and call each other to say, hey, what kind of support can we give you? Or, hey, can you lend me some support? Our fire team We're the best team in Panama City Beach. I'm so proud of our employees. It's the thing I could talk about all day for good news. Almost 400 employees strong now for a city, a municipality like us. And you just know there's thousands that come in on a weekend. So we have to support them. But our team is always at the ready to help another team. And that, to me, that love for community is something that it thrives inside City Hall and the whole city as a whole.
From a county level, and just really what I'm hearing in the news, it sounds like there's growth across the board. From a beach standpoint, there are certain markers of that. I know, having talked to Commissioner Griffiths, as he would describe some of that, I know they've been saying that we're on pace for record growth this year, record tourism. I think he had said we were thinking we were going to have like 17 million visitors.
Yes.
Does that sound about right?
That's right, yes.
And those are record numbers for us, right?
Record numbers. And I said earlier discussing, we see it at the airport, right? When the airport moved 10 years ago, no one thought the airport would do what it was doing. And last year was a record for the airport at like 1.2 million, just over 1.2 million travelers through the airport.
Right.
Looking at projections now, as I sit on the airport authority, we think it's going to be 1.6 million this year. So the growth in our area, that's one of the things I really believe, as tough as the pandemic has been.
Right.
I think that's one of the benefits for Bay County and Panama City Beach as a whole is people found us during the pandemic. They might not have known us before, but then when they came and realized this is paradise, the same way I did,
right?
And I realized this is where I want to raise my family because it's an amazing place, right? Is that smile that you have is how I feel right now, right?
It's
genuine
when you
because
talk about
it's genuine. It's genuine.
It
right?
is.
And I think so many people found our area. They keep coming back.
Right.
Because they realized, man, that place is awesome. I want to go there again, and I want to go there again, and I want to bring my family up there, and I want to move there.
Well, and I know Dan Rowe will love this, and I know the hoteliers will love the fact that we have generational clientele, right? And over the years, I know that much of that has been drive-to destination kind of stuff. Georgia and Alabama, Atlanta, Birmingham, they drive down here. And I thought during the pandemic that if the volume that we were seeing, because when we would go out to the beaches, that there were a lot of visitors. And I initially thought, okay, this because we're a drive-to destination, nobody wants to get on an airplane. And then I saw how quickly the airport had grown, and that we were the fourth fastest growing airport or whatever in the country.
Right.
And so they're not just driving here now; they're flying in.
The direct flight markets, we see more activity from Denver than we used. You can't imagine, right? The amount of people that are coming on these direct flights from all over the country now because, again, they found us and they love us.
Can I brag on the beaches just for a second?
Always. This is my favorite thing to do.
So we've got lots of new folks new faces coming to our church, just like we do at the beaches that are from other parts of the country. We have a brand new family that's from the Houston area, and they normally go to the beaches, and I'm not knocking the beaches in Texas, but I'll tell you that I've met others that were from Texas, and once you see the beaches in Bay County, there's no comparison.
It's funny you say that. My wife and I were traveling a few years back, and we were down in the Caribbean, and she looked at me point blank, and it was a really nice trip. I was really excited that we took it, and she said, "Thank you, but these beaches aren't even as nice as our beaches. We literally live in paradise. Why are we traveling? If we're going to spend our money to go do something, we're doing the same thing we could do at a staycation at home because our beaches are this magnificent and this beautiful." So it's pretty funny you say that. So
we've got more and more people coming to visit, but we also, growth-wise, have more and more people that are moving here and making it their home.
Absolutely. We're seeing it in the school systems. We're seeing that in the community. We see it in the latest census numbers. We had almost 30% increase in Panama City Beach alone in the census that's just completed.
Did you guys have a fear? Because I know in Bay County we had a fear early on that we were not getting enough of the census report, like we weren't getting the numbers in, and to know that we had such a good result in terms of what we're seeing now, that's actually a real positive compared to what the concern had been, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we did lose some municipalities, lost some residents, but as a whole, Bay County is very strong, and it'll continue to get strong. And I firmly believe we're going to continue to see the growth that we're seeing. I mean, you see it all over. You drive out here and the construction that you see and the activity that you see and the pent-up market demand. You know that it's there, and you see the activity, and I just love to see the
Well, I think people are excited to move to Florida for a whole lot of reasons. They love our governor. They love the freedoms here, and this is probably the cheapest place to move. Northwest Florida in general is one of the more affordable places in Florida to live. Absolutely.
Then we're seeing a lot of those folks come from all over as, some of these developments that are coming, people coming from some of those other states where a house that's $1 million somewhere else is
right.
Ridiculous here, right? They can sell that and have something here that's way more amazing.
So as I talk to folks, I keep asking questions about infrastructure because the people that I talk with about the growth, they're nervous, they're concerned about all these extra people. How are we gonna deal with all that? How are we gonna adjust? And I'm finding as I talk to you guys, the ones in charge of some of y'all actually have plans for some of these things, and these are some of the good news things that you wanted to come and share. So I know that y'all opened up another sector of the Philip Griffiths Parkway. Phase 2 opened in May.
Yes, sir.
Is there another segment of that still to go?
There's more to that road. So right now the county is working from the new sports complex back to Clara. Mm-hmm. So another phase of that's going. And as well, we work with FDOT. We're blessed, honestly, with FDOT. They, Secretary Gaynor out of the Chipley office and his team are some of the nicest people that you will ever talk to. And they get it. They see the growth here and they see the amount of tourism that our marketplace is getting. And they're working hard to make sure that we're able to get to the 6th landing of Back Beach Road. We're able to finish those next sectors. So we are constantly working on it, and it is good news. There's really good news coming on this.
Well, and I read up on you a little bit, and I know that whenever they opened up the Parkway, you were actually quoted in an article as saying that you realized that the movement of people, the transportation systems, perhaps the greatest need that we have to try to keep up with the growth.
Yes.
There's discussion about 6-laning Highway 98.
Yes, sir.
And if I read it right, it's from the Hathaway Bridge to Mandy Lane.
Yes.
Do you know how far out on the beach that is?
That's a long way.
It's like 8 miles.
Yeah. So it'll end up going all the way to 79. Some of that's already done.
Okay.
So that's broken up into 3 phases. And I think you'll hear some really good news on that before too often long.
Okay.
We really feel excited about the opportunity that we have. Transportation is our number one issue on Panama City Beach. It really is. And as we continue to see more tourism and residential growth, we are just seeing more and more residential growth. We know we need more infrastructure.
I know one of the real difficult places lately, growth opportunities, has been the stormwater issue.
Yes, sir.
And I say that knowing that countywide, it's been a strain. We've had probably the wettest year we've had in years, decades.
Right.
Y'all have been doing some productive stuff. You and I were talking about it, and I want you to have an opportunity to just tell us about some of the issues with stormwater on the beach and what the solutions are that are coming. One
of the projects that we're most excited about is our outfall project. It is combining 2 current outfalls and taking the same exact water that's running out onto the beaches today. And we were talking earlier, it's that brown water that you sometimes see kids playing in. You're like, oh, what are they doing? Is that, people always wonder, is that sewage? What is that you're draining out on the beach? It's just regular stormwater, right? But that water always flows into the Gulf of Mexico. So we have been blessed. And when I was a very, very new mayor, I picked up the phone and just called some other mayors and said, all over the country, and said, what are things that are working for you? What are things that are not working for you? And I got on the phone with the Myrtle Beach mayor, and Ms. Brenda said to me, listen, you got to get into this outfall because this is going to be the thing that saves your beaches. And came back to City Hall and had some conversations, and our public works director was already on top of it. Kelly Jenkins has a stack this high of things about how great this could be for us, but we just never had the available funding. And after a sad storm event, we were able to secure some funding from the state, $21 million, to take 2 outfalls, combine them, and put it out 1,500 feet into the Gulf of Mexico. Such a great project.
I'm not sure they heard that clearly. How much money did you say?
$21 million grant from the state. The state believes in this program so much they're willing to jump in like that because they know what it's going to do for the environment. They know what it's going to do for the beach. They know what it's going to do for turtle nesting. All these things are challenges now, and you look at it, and they're ugly. I'm sorry. Outfalls are ugly in our current state. I know it's not good news, but the good news is we're fixing it, right? So that's the part that's exciting. We have outfalls all across the beach, and we'd love the whole island to be in this same manner. So as we get one done, we're going to have to consistently fight. That's our relationships are fighting. I'll tell you, we're nonstop. We're fighters.
Something that you would not know about me. My dad was in the stormwater side of things for years with the state. And people that come to Bay County, some of our listeners may not know why that water looks like tea as it does. And the reason I say tea is because all that water that pours into the bay and has all summer long is running through the swamps, just like water that goes through tea leaves. And it's colored as a result of it. Mm-hmm. And anywhere you have a creek that runs into the bay or runs into the Gulf, if you go over, for instance, to Port St. Joe and you look where the canal runs into their bay, after rain, it's always dark water.
Yes, sir.
And that water is not like polluted with sewage or anything else. It's not because it was on the road. It's just because that's the color that rainwater is.
Yes.
But it doesn't change the fact that people that aren't local don't know what that means.
Right.
And we do love to see it blue.
And we love blue. We love
Right.
we love the Gulf of Mexico the way it is. And this project's running through. I want to make sure everyone's very clear and understands. This project goes through every environmental impact that you can go through.
Right.
It goes through DEP. It goes through the Corps of Engineers. It goes through FEMA. Every state agency that it could touch, the turtle harvesting folks, everyone is involved in this program. It's not like, hey, here we are. We're just putting a pipe in the ground. It doesn't work like that. And this is a really great project.
Well, it sounded like when I was asking you before, like, okay, make that case. We got funding for it.
Yes, sir.
So it's paid for.
Yes, sir.
It's better for the environment.
Yes, sir.
Is what you'd said. And then it's better for the residents that have water in their house.
Correct.
Like, this is the solution.
This is the solution. This is the solution for the entire island. If we can get it done, we would love to get it done because public safety is our first and foremost job.
Right.
And when a storm event happens and a flooding does happen, I take those things personal.
I understand.
You don't want that to happen to your neighbor, to your friend, to your community. And when you care about it like we do, and probably to a fault,
Right.
we care so much that we want to make sure we're doing the right thing. And you never want something bad to happen to you in your community. So you want to fix it, right? So this is a great solution to a problem that's been around for decades. And I'm really excited that we're going to be able to get it done and move this thing forward.
Well, I was asking you for timelines. I know you can't give me that, but you were telling, because we just don't know, but you're
Right.
pushing, it's in the works now.
Every day. The project moves forward every day. And that's the goal. Through the engineering, through all the testing and all the permitting, it is one thing I've learned about government. It's not the quickest thing you'll ever do, but it'll get there, right?
Well,
As
and I
long as we
wanted the
keep moving
public
it
to hear
forward.
that. I wanted them to know that it's in the works.
Absolutely in the works, and we're really excited. And like I say, if we could do all of them, man, I would love it. And I hope we can get some more support from the state to continue to do more of them because they are so good for the beach, so good for the environment. And you start looking at the turtles. I mean, one of my favorite things to do, we'll walk on the beach. My kids are like, there's a nest, And you start thinking about turtles they can't navigate those things, right? Those outfalls. They're hard. And that's one of the special things that we have here, the cycle of the beauty of it, right? And you look at those type of things and you say, we're really in a unique spot. Where else do turtles come and nest on your beach, right? And to be able to give them another clean canvas to nest on, another check mark for me.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about leadership and how you were able to handle this. I'm not taking this direct out of script, okay? But how I admire your resilience as a leader at a time that really, no matter what you do, it's going to get criticized.
Sure.
I am so grateful that we were able to keep the economy rolling.
Yes, sir.
Economically, in a country that right now the economy is in a really tough spot. We're doing pretty well as a community, right?
We're doing great as a community. And it's funny you mentioned that. One thing some people may know or may not know is Panama City Beach is the largest city in the state of Florida without an ad valorem tax. So we have no personal property tax. So when you pay your tax bill to Chuck Perdue, he loves to come in here and collect taxes, as he talks about, the tax man. When Chuck sends out his tax bill, Panama City Beach doesn't get any of that. Every other municipality gets a local tax. So we have to survive on a 1% business tax receipt. So when the pandemic started, we got very nervous because if tourism stops, if the economy slows down at all,
Right.
we don't have a nest egg because we don't have a guaranteed income.
It directly affects you.
Yes, sir. We have the calendar rolls, Chuck gets his money. The calendar rolls at the beach, we don't. We have to make sure that people are still shopping. They're still coming to buy goods and services and using the amenities that we have. Otherwise, we have to start looking at cost cutting. And cost cutting for us means people, and we can't afford to cut. I want to add more people, right? I feel like the beach, we should have more staff. So it's really a challenging thing. But that's the uniqueness of who we are as the beach as well. To be able to still not have an ad valorem tax makes us such a place people do want to live because, hey, they can come live here and not pay that extra tax as well.
Right. Well, I think it's amazing that, because I personally was concerned for you guys at the beach, knowing that in the summer season with record numbers, how are you going to handle the folks, like the
Right.
restaurants and all that stuff? And it hasn't been easy, but we managed.
We managed. They got through. And I think that's the resiliency of not just Panama City Beach, but Bay County,
Yep.
right? I think between Hurricane Michael and everything else that we've seen, this is a community that gives me goosebumps when you start talking about it, because it's a community that I don't care who.
You're making me smile.
Well, I know, but because I get so heartfelt about it, because it's a community. Again, the reason we live here, you can choose to live anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You choose to live here because it's an amazing place.
Absolutely.
And when you start thinking about it, you just know anybody in this community is willing to roll up their sleeves and help their neighbor, and that's what really gets you excited about it.
I love Bay County. Tell me, you were real excited about a teaching hospital that is coming.
Mm-hmm.
If people haven't seen this, it's a partnership between St. Joe Company,
Yes, sir.
Tallahassee Memorial,
Yes, sir.
and
FSU.
FSU.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when I heard FSU, I pastored over in Jacksonville for a while, and they have a Shands hospital that's a research hospital. There's one in Gainesville, and then there's a lot of UF medical students in the Jacksonville version of that.
Sure.
It sounds like that this hospital that they're creating is one where a relatively new FSU medical, not UF, FSU medical school is maybe expanding in some way over to this area, because obviously they're going to have students here at a teaching hospital.
Right.
Are they going to be expanding the FSU program?
One of the things when I was running for office that really was a glaring need for Panama City Beach, and I know it's been worked on for a long time, and we work on it. Again, it's another one of those things that we work on consistently, is getting this hospital here. I think you'll start to see some major activity on that next year. It's already been announced. We know what's coming. But the part I love the most about this teaching hospital is the fact that the youth of our community now have another avenue. They have another occupational opportunity. Mm. And when I think about that, I think about my kids, right? I think about everybody's kids. And I start thinking, man, if they don't want to be in hospitality, or they don't want to be in one of the traditional beach jobs, what can they do? And here's another opportunity for folks in Bay County and the surrounding areas to realize this hospital is coming, and it's not just going to be a small little hospital.
Right.
It's going to be built in phases, 4 phases or so. And by the time it's done, it's going to have hundreds of hospital beds. So hundreds of hospital beds equate to thousands of jobs. And that's what's coming to our community. And it'll be a teaching hospital. The research component to this hospital is the part that excites me the most. So not only are you going to have the smartest professors teaching the smartest students, you're also going to have cutting edge technology and research inside this hospital. So right. If you go there for something different, you're going to have the opportunity to have the smartest people there digging into it and looking at it from the research component. So the hospital is something I get very, very excited about and very passionate about, because I know we need it, and I know our community needs it. And I think it's such a great opportunity.
Well, they do need it. If you're coming back across the bridge a little bit, right, and you're looking at the FSU PC campus, they just opened this fall semester on-campus housing.
Yes, sir.
And that is a part of honestly, for decades, I think they've wanted to be able to grow that campus life, to have more offered over here, to be able to increase that. We are meeting through some of our college ministry that we have at the church. We're meeting college students that are moving from other places like Houston,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they're moving to our community for that. And it sounds like I don't even know if it's fair that you would know all of it, but it sounds like to me that the college has interest in continuing to grow their on-campus programs as well.
I think that's a very fair assessment. And I think when you see the name of the hospital and everything as it comes out, it's going to be very, very driven by that. The folks at TMH are just phenomenal. Mark O'Brien, the CEO, and Andrew Starr, they're here every other week. They're in our community every other week, because they know how important this is and how it's going to transform kind of this marketplace for them.
When I was interviewing Chuck Purdue, he knows where a lot of the developments happen, because he signs off on a lot of those plats. In process, I was trying to get him to put in perspective for me how big the development's going to be, the Margaritaville development. And as he described it to me, he basically said, when it gets done in size, it will be the largest 55 plus development in the country.
Correct.
And so I'm just putting pieces together. When I was reading the St. Joe Company article about this, the hospital, they're literally trying to plan ahead, knowing that medical needs are going to be an essential part of what they have. And so what I love about this concept of planning, where you've got business leaders that want growth, you've got community leaders that are forward thinking, that have a little bit of a business background.
Right.
I mean, you're not a politician, you're a businessman.
Absolutely. And the city is a business. It should be run like a business. And that's a very forward for me to say, but that's how I feel. The city is
It
a
is.
big, big business, and it needs to be run like a business. It's very different than some of the old mindset.
Agreed. And I guess kind of taking off of that, it's why I loved hearing people like Bob Micah talk about being an entrepreneur. He used the term that we don't have to do it the way we've always done it. If there's something that works better, that's cheaper, that's more efficient, that gets a better job, then you do it. I heard the same thing, and I keep using Chuck's name, but he's a friend of yours and
Sure.
someone that we interviewed on a previous podcast. That's how he's running the tax office, with the idea of ingenuity in mind. And so all of these different entities are working together. I also know how this works with the school system, right?
Yes, sir.
Because we've got people that are coming out of our high schools. We have a need. We've got a job market now that they're beginning to develop some things that, like you said, that would allow for maybe better income, but certainly other options for those that are coming here. So all that together is something to truly be excited about, and you are.
I'm very excited about it. And doing different is the best thing we can do, because doing it the same way is not always the right way. I'm a firm believer of that. I don't care whether it's at home, whether it's on a ball field, right? I'm an old school baseball coach. I used to think of things differently. Now I watch too many videos and I realize, man, I was wrong all those years. I should be doing it different, right? And teaching the youth a different way. You just got to adapt. And I think that's the best part about the government inside Panama City Beach itself right now. And I think Bay County as a whole, from talking to some of the other leaders in the county, is every one of us is willing to adapt quickly. And I think that's the most important thing, is when you see it's working, you see it's not working, you make those that adapt and move on.
So our word for the year at the church has been flexagility.
Flexagility.
So to be flexible means to bend as needed, right?
Yes.
Flexagility, as I've defined it, is to be able to bend in real time, like as needed in a quick manner as times necessitate.
I hope it's okay. I'm going to steal that.
You can't.
I'm absolutely going to steal that, because I think that is phenomenal. That's how I feel, because we have to adapt. You have to be flexible.
Yeah.
Because
move at the pace of real life.
And the pace of real life today isn't the pace of real life of the past. And that's why you have to adapt, to be, you have to have flexagility, as you would say.
Well, and what makes it so hard is we've got more generations alive at one time.
Yes, sir.
At a time that the pace of change is greater than it's ever been. And when change is occurring at a great pace, all these trends and processes were like, well, why is it not like it used to be? Because it's changing faster than it's ever changed.
And it will continue to get faster. Right?
Yes.
So you have to be forward thinking enough to realize that there is change out there, and change is good. There's folks who don't like a lot of change, and I'm a change person. I want it to be better, faster, quicker, done, move on, next. And I think that's the way to do it.
I'm not a change person, but I've been forced. It's
kind of funny to watch everyone here laugh when I talk about I love change. They're all like, he does not love change.
But we've changed a lot. I mean, I've had to. It's been change or die. I mean, you just
if you don't have flexagility, you're going to be left behind.
John Maxwell says change is certain.
For sure.
Growth is optional. And so since change is coming, you've got to make the adjustment.
I don't think growth is optional for us anymore. I think in Bay County, growth is absolutely part of what we are. I don't think you see growth slowing down because, again, it's paradise. My wife and I talk about it all the time. If you're having a bad day, drive down Front Beach Road in Panama City Beach. Yeah. I implore everyone to do it. You know why? We live where people spend thousands of dollars a year to vacation. They save their hard-earned money to come here and spend time in our community because of the natural God-given beauty we have on Panama City Beach. I don't care how bad your day is. Drive down Front Beach Road. Look at the water. Look at the sand. It's amazing.
Talking about, and I don't know what else you'd call it except the therapy of hearing the waves when it's sitting on the beach. I mean, Christmas.
Therapeutic's the right word.
It's not too early to talk about Christmas for me. In an ideal world, it's going to be flip-flops and some shorts. And a white Christmas would mean that I'm sitting on the beach listening to the waves crash at one of the most beautiful times of the season.
Sure.
Or the whole year, really, for sunsets, right? And that's what we're known for. I wanted to take the time to mention some of the things that happen locally. I've got listeners and viewers that are new from other states that have moved here. They love this place. They may not be traveling all the way back to Texas or Ohio or Pennsylvania or the places that they're from for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Sure.
And we do some unique things on the beach. We're going to
Absolutely.
link some of those, but I want to get the name right. Beach Home for the Holidays.
Great event, and I love it. Aaron Besson Park. It's where we just open up and start talking about who we are as a community. Such a family event, and that's more and more what the beach is all the time, is the family aspect. And obviously near and dear to me. But
You ran on that platform.
it's what it's about. The reason I ran for office was my daughter. It's a unique story, but she was 8 years old, and I came home from a council meeting. I was there as a resident participant. I was, getting some, looking to get something passed for my other business. And I got it done. I got home and she just kind of looked at me and said, "What's wrong?" She's 8. "Nothing. Why? What's wrong?" Well, just the meeting was just odd. It was different, right? It just didn't have a great feel to it. Fix it. Now this 8-year-old's kind of telling me what I need to do, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, "Well, baby, it's fine. We got what we wanted. Everyone just wasn't as sweet as I like people to be. And they just, it didn't run the way I would run a meeting." And she looked at me point blank, dead in the eyes. And I'll never forget this. I've told the story a bunch of times. She said, "Well, you need to fix it. You tell us to do the right thing." And I'm like, "But baby, to fix it, I'd have to become the mayor." She said, "Become the mayor." It's like, "Oh, okay. You're 8. You stop giving me a hard time," essentially, right? And then my wife and I started praying about it. And the more we talked about it and the more I stepped back and listened to that 8-year-old, I realized she was right. And that there was a lot of things that I felt like we could do. And one of the days I've never been more proud is the day of my investiture when I got put into office and my kids are there holding the Bible as my wife is reading it. And the looks in their faces, there's a picture hanging in my office at City Hall that someone took for me. And the look in my kids' eyes told me it was all worth it. And continuing to fight for the youth is what I'll always do. Good, bad, or indifferent. At the end of the day, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. And I put my head on my pillow knowing I'm going to do the best thing I can do for Panama City Beach and Bay County every day for the youth of this community. Because that's the future. And
Right.
I look around and I see your staff and I start thinking, it gets me excited to think you surrounded yourself with more youth of the community and you have a leadership role with them. And you're changing their lives every day. And when you can do that, humble or not, that's what you're doing. And when you can do that and you make a positive step for people, we win.
We absolutely do. I love that, and I will tell you that before I didn't get a vote because I live on. I mean, obviously not on the beach, but I was asking about you because I wanted to know you were a guy for family value. That matters to me a lot.
That's it.
And since then, I actually knowing that you were coming on the show, I started asking around with the guys that are out there and like, tell me about Mark Sheldon, Mayor Sheldon. What is he doing a good job? Is he somebody that you can get? And really, they've been very complimentary of the they generate. I mean, they enjoy the way that you get things done and see the vision that you have for the beaches.
We have an amazing community and it rallies together. And that's what I love about it is everyone's really pulling the same way.
Mm.
Everyone wants the best for the beach. Trust me, we're never going to do something going back even to the Outfall Project. Not one of the 5 of us sitting up there on that dais would ever do anything to harm Panama City Beach.
Right.
You're only going to do what's going to make the beach better.
Right.
How can you make it better? Well, you're not going to spend $21 million to hurt something.
Right.
Especially the last thing we want to hurt is the thing that draws everybody here, which is the sand between your toes at Christmas time.
Yeah.
If we mess that up, well, then we've really hurt millions of dollars for our community, and that's the last thing we can afford to do.
Agreed. I think one of the things that I wanted to try to communicate to folks is this is a year where it's important for us to take the time to be thankful.
Mm.
You know, whatever the circumstances are, we need to just, I mean, by the time this airs, it's going to be, we'll be in November, right? And we might as well start early being thankful. And then as Christmas rolls around, make a decision that we're going to celebrate, you know, and choose to get out. I mean, people are hungry for community. They're hungry to be out and do. I think there'll be more opportunity for that at the beaches this year. If people are new and don't know, we'll also keep the link for the New Year's Eve ball drop, which
Absolutely. Another great family event, right? That's
Yeah.
what really drives the community aspect to it.
I almost am scared to ask. Do you know yet if we're doing a Christmas parade on the beach?
Yes, we are.
We are.
Yeah, it's already been approved. That got approved today.
Well, hopefully there's a link we can put somewhere that tells people where to go to find that.
Yeah, the Optimist Club puts it on each year for us out at the beach. Very thankful for that group. They do so much giving in our community. So the road closures got through today and all that. So we're moving forward with the Christmas parade.
That is so good. Is there anything else that I've missed? I see one here. Tell me about the fire station on the east end. That's some more good news.
That's some great news. Something else we're working on very diligently on is through our state representatives and our state senators. Very thankful for, again, it's the team. Everybody cares about Bay County. And our East End Fire Station is one we really need to move. It's on Middle Beach Road now. It serves more of the unincorporated residents of Panama City Beach than it really does the residents of Panama City Beach. But that's our joint work with Bob and his team right at the county side. So again, we support each other and we want to make sure we're helping to take care of that East End. But our East End Fire Station is outdated. It's small. Times have changed, obviously, and it doesn't bode well for men and women in the same building. Even it doesn't have all the aspects that it should have, like our new fire stations, and it's not a safe facility right now. If a storm comes through, they have to leave the fire station because they have to seek shelter at a different fire station. And you start thinking about that, the people that are there to protect us can't be where they need to be. So we're working very hard to build a new fire station, and that's something that excites me as well because it's more forward thinking. Do we have to do it? No. But is it the right thing to do? Absolutely. And we do have to do it because we're transforming and we're growing as a community. And we know the more growth, the more service, the more calls for service, and the more these folks do. Again, our first responders in Panama City Beach are some of the greatest people you will ever meet. We had at our meeting this morning, and I know this will air later on, but we had a bunch of employee recognition, and it's 30 years, and it's 20 years, and it's 15 years, and 5 years. And the amount of time that people, when they get into our family of employment at the beach, they don't leave because it is a great place to be. And we have such a great leadership team. We're just really blessed over there.
It's good.
It's great.
I love being able to say incredible things about our community. It's great to have a conversation with somebody else that loves the community like I do, that I really have never gotten the privilege to have much of a conversation with. I look forward to seeing you
too.
Whether it's at a restaurant on the beach or
out here.
Yes.
There's no reason it has to be one way or the other.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and sharing some good news with us today and being our guest on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being friends.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us for the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. Please help us share this good news and change the conversation by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the podcast.